I'm Tara.
And I'm Shannon.
We're married business partners with a thriving company and a one-of-a-kind crew. But that's not where our story begins.
We believe that your past doesn't get to define your future. And for over a decade, we've been cultivating a team built on second chances.
Each day, our crew makes a choice. We decide to be better than yesterday. Together, as a family, we're not just rehabbing homes, we're rehabbing lives.
So come join us. This is Rehabbed.
So before the first drug that I ever picked up, I'd have to say it was the ocean, surfing. Skipping school, making my life unmanageable became a daily thing. I would skip school, ride my bike, carrying my surfboard 3 miles all the time, and my mom was cool with it. That's what made her one of the coolest moms ever. The ocean was always there for me. It gave me a natural high that it still does today. It gave me a euphoric feeling. And that it would always be there for me, you know. And I struggled with abandonment issues, you know, growing up. I never really had a stable environment until I was probably 12 or 13 or something. And yeah, that's when my disease started, I do believe. I am a beach baby from Daytona Beach, Florida. It's a city well known for spring break, bike week, and NASCAR. I grew up in an unstable family. My mother and father were both substance abusers. Father was a heavy alcoholic. Mom was on painkillers. And my father wasn't much in my life for many years until I was about 16. The reason why I showed up when I was 16 was because I came home from school one day and my mother tried to commit suicide. She felt that she couldn't take care of me anymore. She left me all these very sad goodbye notes. It hurt me and it messed with me, and I didn't understand. I would just numb myself with whatever was available. I think I was 16 years old, and that's when my father tried to come back into my life that time too. After my entire life of him not being there, he finally decided to show up to be a father, and I wasn't having it. But I was 16 and I had to have a parent, otherwise I was gonna go to foster care. He would try to be the man, be the father, but it wouldn't work, you know. He was no better than I was, and I'm no better than he was at the time. My father was really into painkillers, and I hated him. I hated him so bad. He would steal my mom's all the time. My mom was a drug addict. She had some legit medical problems with her though, you know, scoliosis and rheumatoid arthritis and massive depression, and the list goes on. So both my parents were drug addicts, but I hated the way that the pills made my dad. You know, it was very ugly.
Kameron's really quiet, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He's really shy, and it takes a while to get to know him.
Mm-hmm.
But once you do, it's like he's family.
Kameron's always been a very much an introvert. For him to talk about what's actually going on inside of him has been a process. When we first met, he always wore this kind of fake smile, like everything was always okay. And being in recovery, we know that that's not a thing.
So at the time of my very, very lowest rock bottom, sitting in a jail cell, I'd never thought that I'd never make it to where I'm at today. Working with a solid group of friends, and living life to the dream, living life, what's the thing I always say all the time? And living the dream each day.
So the project Kameron's going to tackle is a backsplash installation. I believe it's a subway pattern backsplash with some Schluter strip finish outs, and it's a relatively smaller backsplash, kitchen backsplash, but I believe that Kameron's the man for the job.
Today's project will consist of running tile backsplash. First, what we had to do today was do a little bit of demo. There was some prior backsplash. Went ahead and cleared that out. I'm gonna run a control line here for a starting and a stopping point to install my Schluter strip. It's very easy to get off track. If you're doing like a major wall and your countertop's off by like, say, 1/8 at one section, like say it's higher over here, if you continue to go up, it'll be 1/4, 1/2 inch. If you keep going higher and higher, it'll grow. So it's kind of where you have to pay attention to. And also like detail and cuts. Going around windows and junction boxes, and it's taken a lot of experience and a lot of mess ups to really know how you do it, to get it. Really the only way is experience and learning from your mistakes and how to keep things clean and in order and moving.
Kameron's been kind of like a slow but steady guy. He's like a marathon runner, you know? He really is. Like, he's not in a race to like get anywhere, you know? He's like slow and steady, and he's gonna accomplish some stuff, and he has.
And it's like that at work too. Like he's really got one speed.
Yep.
You know, he doesn't drag his heels, and he's
not gonna burn himself out.
And he's not running around like there's a fire under his butt either, you know. But he's steady, and he gets it done, and it's and we can depend on. I trust Cam with everything that I have, you know, internally, externally. Like, I trust Kameron. You know, I don't trust a lot of people like that. You know, we don't trust a lot of people like that.
But never really knew I was an addict. I always thought I knew what I was doing. I could just take this and be good, and always held a job, and I maintained being a functional drug addict until I was about 25. I was in a major car accident. There was a fatality in it. Two-lane highways still scare me today. It was during bike week. And I was a navigator. This is back in the day when we used to read out of the atlas to know we were going to the next job. I'm like, all right, man, we're taking a left up here. And he didn't even look, he just turned. He turns left, and lo and behold, two bikers coming right at me. I'm looking up from my book, and I see him, I look dead in his eyes, and he had like no expression on his face. And he was so close at that moment that I thought he was gonna come through my windshield. That man died. I didn't even see the second biker until I got out of the car, or out of the van. And there was actually two people on that motorcycle. And it was a horror scene. I was going through shock, breathing real heavily. I didn't know what to do, and like, it was very traumatizing. From that car accident, though, I was hurt. I didn't really feel it until, you know, the adrenaline calmed down. But I had some disc herniations, and the ER doctor prescribed me some painkillers, and oh, these feel great. No wonder. I have so much energy, and I'm loose, and I'm confident, and I got hooked on painkillers. And my father was a really bad painkiller addict, opiate addict. And I always saw him growing up, you know, here and there. And it looked so ugly and disgusting. And I hated it. And I always told myself that I never wanted to be that. And I also lacked some self-esteem issues. And when I was prescribed this medication for pain, I felt very confident in life and reality. And I felt very secure about myself for once, and I ran with it. I just didn't know the outcome of the abuse of the long-term abuse from it, not taking it as prescribed, and dependency and withdrawal and many other symptoms.
I've never been in a position where I've had to teach somebody or that it was my responsibility to teach somebody. And I think Kameron was the first person that I had to teach. And so not only was he working on learning a trade, but I was working on like teaching a trade, and he was very patient with me. I'm sure I had my moments, and I was as patient as I could be with him.
But when I started working with Shannon, he started training me on all kinds of new stuff, like, you know, table saws and miter boxes and how to cut angles and returns and all this stuff that I felt familiar with, but like I wasn't. You know, I thought I knew more than I did, and hanging sheetrock and how to find studs, and you know, I thought I knew how to paint too. You know, but I was completely wrong on that. There's a lot more to it than just throwing paint in the wall. And, the man's taught me everything I know today. Absolutely, I'm very grateful for it.
To see him be able to do a backsplash is amazing. It made me feel so good. That's like a proud dad moment. Honestly, man, like he's like a brother to me. We've had took a lot of trips this year. It's been great, man. We did Hawaii, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico,
Outer Banks a couple
times.
Yeah.
He's been my surf coach. He's he's teaching me how to surf again, because I had given that up, you know, for drugs, man. I hadn't surfed in probably 10 years.
My disease progressed fairly quickly. When I was 25, my mom finally passed away. She was living in an assisted living facility. And I would always see her in the morning. I would always go to the methadone clinic, stop by the convenience store, get her a pack of cigarettes, and eat breakfast with her every morning. And it was a very enjoyable time in my life, even though it was very depressing. I was a very fantastic manipulator. I could talk to any doctor and knew the right words and the symptoms and have the right paperwork to get what I wanted. Living in a tweaker pad in Daytona on beachside, and it felt really cool, and I felt really accepted in the place that I was at, because we all connected, you know, and it was fun. And so SWAT came through the door and busted us. And my buddy's still doing time for that 5 years later. So from that right there, I called my dad, asking if I can come live with him. And he said yeah. And he knew what I was up to. And he was still an enabler. I get up there and he has this, he's growing marijuana in his back shed, and I was like, you don't know what you're doing, I got this, you know, let's do this together, it's gonna be great. And it took the North Carolina task force a month and a half to figure out what I was doing. I got in trouble. My father went to jail with me that night. I remember sitting in jail, not seeing the light of day for 5 months, and I tapped out, and I had my freedom ripped away from me for a year, a little over a year that time. Prior to this, I've been arrested 14, 15 times, in and out of jail, little mini small stints, and it never helped. It just made matters worse. Because I never had the proper help when I was in there. I just wasn't ready. So I did my year stint in prison. I was able to step away from substances and actually realize the damage that I've done to myself and the others around me who cared. And I just knew that I didn't want to do it again. I lost a lot of life. I lost a lot of growing I could have had. You know, a lot of I don't know. I lost a lot of time with my parents, quality time, and I don't know. You never know what you lost until you don't have it. You know.
When you're teaching somebody your industry standard. Like everybody has their industry standards, you know what I mean? Every company has a different standard of quality of work, you know, and we have ours. And what we try to impress upon all of our employees is like, there's a million paint companies, there's a million construction companies, a million tile guys, there's a million carpenters. It's like, what is gonna separate us from them? You know, why are people gonna call us back? And one of those things is like attention to detail, quality. Yeah, we want people to be fast, we all wanna make money, we're in the business to make money, but it needs to be right, and it needs to look good. And so if you see something, somebody else is gonna see it. Don't ignore something, you know? And so Kameron got to the point where his industry standard kind of lined up with ours, you know? So because of that, we're able to put him on some cool backsplashes or bathroom remodels and have confidence that it's gonna be done and done right.
I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for my friends, my connection. I'm not a very people person. I'm part of the anti-social social club. I don't like a lot of people. But the friends that I've made through this, I believe that we're all in the right place at the right time for us to meet.
I actually met Kameron out in the water surfing. I was surfing with some friends, and he kind of paddled up beside us, and I got introduced to him by Mikey. And we ended up becoming fast friends. He was working for a different company at the time, doing like hurricane cleanup. We told him about a trip that we had planned to Puerto Rico, just a surf trip, and he asked if he could come, and we said sure. And he was still using at the time. I believe he hadn't gotten clean yet.
About a month and a half before we went to Puerto Rico, I was skateboarding and I fell. And like I legitimately hurt myself. I could not get out of the skate bowl. I had to have Mikey pick me up and get me out of there. And they gave me a legit excuse to go try some painkillers again. And I did. And it was cool at first for like 3 or 4 days, and then like the opiates really started to sink into my perception of reality and my emotions and time and feelings, and I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. And when we were in Puerto Rico, I quit. I said, this is it, I'm done.
This is how he explained it to me, is that he knew that if he kept using or going down the path that he was going down, that the life that he was beginning to live, which like taking surf trips and like seeing and enjoying his life a little bit more, wasn't going to continue to happen if he continued to use.
And because I finally realized what I wanted in life, you know, what's going to drive me to keep staying clean. And it's friends, and it's traveling, and it's moments that are priceless.
He knew that we were in recovery, and he started to show up a little bit more, you know, and come around a little bit more. And recovery it's attraction, it's not promotion. You know, I can't promote this, you know, I can't, and that's not what I'm trying to do today. What I'm trying to do right now is just let it be known that there is hope, you know. So I don't offer this to anybody that's not asking. I don't chase people down and try to beat them with the book of recovery, you know. It doesn't work. So we live recovery, and that's attractive. And then when people come to us asking for it, we give everything we have, you know, and we devote all of our time and all of our attention, and hopefully something sticks. And then when it does, that's the reward, man. And we see these people transform from the same people we used to be into these miracles, man, walking around and living their lives and getting their families back and just integrating into society again. And it's just, man, what a beautiful thing to feel human again, you know? Yep, and what a beautiful thing to see it happen in others.
So we completed our kitchen backsplash today. We put the appliances back, cleaned up all the dust from the grout, put our light sockets back together. I actually went ahead and caulked the seam on the sluiter strip and painted up to it. It makes it look very, very sharp. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So is the client.
Kameron did a fantastic job on this backsplash, like he always does. I'm so grateful to have employees like that, man. And Kameron's he's just one of those guys, you know.
So I can relate tiling with life in the aspect of, as long as you have a solid foundation on the start to build off of, you can just put each piece together as life brings it to you.
He's gained the ability to be aware of what he's feeling. I don't think Kameron was aware of what was happening inside himself, you know, in the beginning. The longer he has stayed clean, and the more work that he's done on himself, I think he's gained the ability to become aware of like what's actually happening inside himself, you know. So because of that ability, he has also gained the ability to talk about it, which is how we recover. You know, if we don't talk about what's happening inside of ourselves, it festers. It's kind of like it's like a virus. You know, it's a disease. It really is. You know, and we have to talk about it. You know, honest sharing is the antidote to our disease thinking. Yeah, it really is.
And the people that I surround myself now are such a major influence in my life today that I don't think I'd ever get to where I'm at today if it wasn't for the people around me. We've taken many surf trips around the world, and we've conquered islands, and we've conquered emotions and low parts in our lives, and we've experienced complete bliss at the same time, and no drug can match that. And there's nothing in the world that can compare to that. And each day I keep living my dream, and it keeps getting better and better. And it's quite an experience to live it with you guys, all of you. And yeah, I can truly say that this is the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. And I love you guys very much. So the word I chose to burn in this fire is anxiety, which I suffer from extremely. And every day gets a little bit better. I wake up in the morning, I say thank you for another one. And at nighttime, I keep going with it. So goodbye to anxiety.
So I just wanted to say that I really love you guys, and I love what we have in this company, and what I know is that, you know, what I could never do alone, you know, together we do recover. I've heard it once said that it's like we're survivors of a sinking ship, you know? Like, I don't have to tell you guys how scary it was when that ship was going down, you know? How afraid, the way that I felt when the ship was sinking, man. I don't have to explain that to you guys. You know, you were on the ship with me. you know, and we all survive, man. And it's that bond, that forever bond that hopefully we'll always share with one another, you know. It's a beautiful thing, man. And you know, not a lot of people have that type of bond. You know, as being recovering people, man, like we're fortunate to have that type of bond with one another, man, that others may not ever see or get, you know. So this is a blessing, and I view it as that. This is no longer a curse, you know. This is a blessing, and I love you guys. So thank you guys for coming tonight. This was amazing. I'm so grateful to have y'all in our lives, working in our company, and keeping us in line, you know, because we're not well. This is a day at a time, you know. And I'm just so grateful for all of you, and I'm grateful for my wife for starting this company and making this all possible for all of us. So thank you.